Okay. Welcome to our today's session. Today we're going to discuss about how to enhance our English language skills. I'll be just sharing some of the insights from my experience. It's not any specific lecture on IELTS preparation. Rather, I will be sharing some of my experiences on how you can develop your whole entire English language skills, basically in terms of speaking and in terms of writing. Whatever tests you're gonna take, maybe IELTS, TOEFL, or PTE, or Duolingo, any kind of test, these English language skill enhancement tips may be helpful for you. Let me. Can you see the screen?
Yeah,
Okay. So in this short presentation, I will share the big picture of communication and language, the major English language skills, and how we can acquire these skills. Rather than learning the skill, I'll be focusing on acquiring these skills and what's the importance of context in terms of communication rather than contents in most of the cases. As you all know, communication is a very, very vast and very important part of our everyday life, be it in personal life, family life, professional, whatever. In every setting, communication plays a very, very big role. Virtually everything communicates, not only human beings, every animal communicates, even every inanimate thing communicates. Say, for example, in physics, in chemistry, if you talk about the universe, every matter, every element, some way or other communicates with each other. And how we communicate broadly by speaking, be the man is literate or illiterate, other than a few exceptions, everybody can speak in his or her own language, but not everybody can write. So, speaking one way of expressing feelings, writing is another way. Even other than speaking and writing, body language is another important way of communication, even sign language. Interesting is that even without speaking, writing, body language, and sign language, there could be a communication. This is called silence. If you don't say anything, if you don't write anything, if you just stand still in response to uh, any comment or any query, that also signifies something you are trying to give the message. What I mean is, silence is also one kind of communication, right? Even some cases, silence is even more powerful than speech. Broadly speaking, communication is big, and the language is part of a communication. You know, there are thousands of languages across the world, more than 6,000 languages. Every language is used for one way of communication. In real life, actually, if we talk about the four different skills, research says that most of the time people spend their time on listening in any language. If you think yourself a typical day, how much time you spend for speaking, how much time for reading, how much time for writing, and how much time for listening. You can easily match these results with your real life, that almost half of the time of our life we spend behind listening to something, someone, maybe on device, maybe on face-to-face real life. We spend majority of our time in listening. Then comes speaking. Around 25% of our time is spent for speaking, and 15% time we spend for reading. Only 10% of our time we spend for writing. So from this picture, you can have some idea in a typical real life setup how people spend their time. Now you match this information with your English skill. Do you spend your 50% of your English learning time for listening? If not, then you are not on the right track. You are not following the right way of acquiring English language skill. So, for example, if you spend 100 minutes per day for learning English language, do you spend 50 minutes for listening and 25 minutes for speaking? Roughly. If not, you are not on the right track. It's not practical. Now you think yourself, what about your primary school, high school, and even university uh, life experience? In a typical high school English class, let's talk about English class. How much time you have spent for listening to English speech? Unfortunately, maybe in the context of Bangladesh, even the English teachers rarely used English words in the class. So this is a huge lack of listening practice for acquiring the English language in our Bangladeshi context life. It's a huge lacking. If there is a lacking in listening, that will directly impact your speaking. Definitely. If there is a lacking in reading, that will directly impact your writing skill. Why? Every language works like this: input skills and output skills, like receptive skills and reproductive skills. I mean, input skills mean listening. By listening, you input something, and by speaking, you produce something. And in the same way, by reading, you just receive something. That is why it's called receptive skill. And by writing, you produce something. That's why it's called productive skills. So, very logically speaking, if there is lack in listening, if there is garbage listening, if there is no listening, there will be no output. If there is garbage listening, and that will be giving you garbage speaking. So the speaking skill directly depending on your listening skill. And the same way, if you read garbage thing, your writing will be of garbage quality. If we read very rarely, our writing will not be fluent. Right? It's scientific and applies in any language in the world. Now, let me ask you a very fundamental question. Say, for example, you want to enhance your speaking skill in English. What should be your primary focus? Can anybody answer? Share? Joydev?
So, could you please pardon the question?
Yeah. So if you want to be a good speaker in English language,
Yeah.
so what should be your primary focus out of these four? I mean, for being a good speaker, should you focus on listening or speaking or reading or writing? Which one should you focus?
Yeah, actually, to be a good speaker, first we have to develop the listening.
That's the thing.
Speaking, yeah, speaking is
Speaking is your
dependent
target.
on listening.
Speaking is your target. It's not your means. Listening is your means.
Yeah.
Listening is your way that will lead to you to the speaking success. But unfortunately, if you can recall your academic studies from primary school to university, or even if you think about any leading English tutorials or coaching centers in your country, you would be mm, maybe familiar that they always say about practice, 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 right?
Yeah, yeah.
They say practice makes man perfect. Okay. If you want to be a good speaker, speak and speak and speak. Have you ever heard anybody advised you to focus on listening? I don't think so.
No, 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 no.
I don't think so because I was also raised in the same country as you are. And none of the English teachers so far I have dealt with said focus on listening. None of them. Just advised practice makes a man perfect. Practice makes a man perfect. You see, if you don't have input, how can you produce something? It's practically impossible, right? Think about the children, how they acquire any language by listening. Think about any language in the world. Any child develops their language skill simply by listening, even before understanding. Before understanding, listening comes. If you see just a baby who is born today, you will see the relatives start speaking with that baby. But does it make any sense that a 1 day old baby understands any speaking? No, he or she doesn't understand any language, even if it is mother tongue. He doesn't understand. But still, we are speaking loudly, right? Loudly with that kid. So, this is how, by just listening and listening, eventually, one day, that baby starts speaking. Isn't it? Just simply by listening, nothing else. Because reading is not possible for the kid. Even forget about writing. Nothing is possible. Only thing is possible for having speaking skill is the listening. That is why the people having hearing difficulty, they cannot learn any language. Why? They cannot speak any language. Why? Because they cannot listen. That is why they can also speak. So, to be a good speaker, first and foremost, focus should be listening. Now, this is my formula number 1. If you want to be a good speaker, be a better listener first. right? Because without knowing ABC, without knowing alphabet, anybody can speak in English. Do you believe? Joydev, do you believe that without knowing ABC, anybody can speak English?
Yeah,
Possible.
without without knowing ABC
Without
in
knowing,
English,
yes, yes.
that is the fundamental knowledge of the English. Yeah, this is possible.
It's possible. Without knowing, I tell you, without knowing ABCD alphabet, anyone can speak English. And I have the example in my house. Both of my kids, frankly speaking, both of my kids speak English from day one. I mean, from when they started speaking something, not from the first day of their birth. I don't mean it. Why? Because I'm talking about my eldest son. My eldest son has never heard any Bangla words from me other than English. From day one, I have been speaking in English with my son from day one. And eventually, even before memorizing ABCD, he started speaking English with me. Just by how? Just by listening to my speech, simply. And at some point, he's learned ABCD alphabet. Now he knows ABCD, but before knowing ABCD, he already started speaking English with me. And it has been a wonder in our friends and family circles. How is it possible? But this is natural. It's not a big deal, right? And we have to listen actively, not just hearing. When you listen actively, you give concentration. And you may ask, what should we listen? You listen anything, what you like. You listen anything, what you like in English. That's it. If you like music, okay, listen to English music. If you like movie, okay, watch English movies. If you like speech, okay, listen to English speech, famous English speech by Obama, by Abraham Lincoln, by Martin Luther King. You listen anything, right? And then try to repeat. Listen, then try to repeat. This is how you acquire language. It's far better than learning a language. Language is not any kind of just academic discipline like accounting, physics, chemistry, biology, or like that. Language is something different. It's not limited to a discipline, right? There are some reference materials you can practice for listening. What are they? It may be IELTS materials. There are lots of IELTS books. There are Cambridge materials, Oxford materials, the BBC, British Council. Okay, Oxford University has designed some movies for learning English language. There is American Rhetoric website. All the famous speeches across the history they have accumulated in one platform. English speech, like Obama speech, like Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln speech. Why? Because these are attractive, interesting things to continue. You can also listen to TED Talk, very famous. If you're religious and like Numan Ali Khan, any religious sermons or speeches, why not you try buying a TV? So these are the materials you can give try. Very selective materials and quality materials. Why? Yes, listening is good. If the listening quality is like garbage, your speaking quality will be like garbage. That is why I always prefer native materials, quality materials, not just any materials on the website. No, It must be authentic materials, must be genuine materials from Oxford, Cambridge, BBC, British Council. Okay? And the world is open. Things are free. Things are free out there. Now, if the question is you wanna be a good writer, to be good at writing in English, the primary focus should be what? You can guess what I mean, right? What should be your focus for being a good writer? Joydev,
You should focus on reading.
focus on reading. Very same principle. Very same principle. Now again, try to recollect. Have you ever been advised by any language experts to focus on reading? Maybe not.
No, no.
They will say, okay, write every day one page. Practice writing, practice writing. Oh my goodness, practice. But I don't have anything to write. How can I practice writing? Without reading, without being a good reader, nobody can be a good writer. Impossible. Guaranteed. This is scientific. This is how language works. Can we expect that a baby will learn writing before learning reading? Can we expect? You cannot.
No, no.
You cannot. Before writing, reading skill is a must. Because by having a good reading skill, being a good reader, you can understand how things work. This is your input. And that's why, very straightforward, my formula number 2 is read to write. If you're okay, anybody wants to join? I don't know. Okay. So very straightforward, your focus should be reading. There is a very popular saying, if you don't have time to read, you don't have the tools to write. Stephen King. If you don't have time to read, that means if you don't read, you cannot write. Very simple. And this is how we face the problem. Again, read actively what you like most. Again, I cannot prescribe what you should read. What I can do is read quality things. It may be in your discipline, it may be the journals from your discipline, maybe magazine from your discipline, maybe textbook, maybe newspaper, which newspaper you like most. But of course, it should be English newspaper. And in Bangladesh context, if it is English newspaper, yes, there is a variation of quality, right? Daily Star uses certain type of English, and Financial Express, Observer, New Age. You can differentiate the quality of English, don't you? So
Sorry.
again, you can also read Financial Times from the UK. You can also read Wall Street Journal from the USA. So if you read Wall Street Journal regularly and anybody else reads Daily Star from Bangladesh regularly, whose writing capacity, writing skill is supposed to be better? Wall Street Journal or Daily Star? Can you get my point?
Yeah.
If someone reads the Daily Star from Bangladesh and another
Yeah.
person reads Wall Street Journal from the USA, whose person's writing skill is supposed to be better? Whose person? Daily Star one or the Wall Street Journal one?
Maybe Wall Street.
Of course, because the quality of Wall Street Journal writing and quality of Daily Star writing are not same. While reading Wall Street Journal, you are inputting high quality English language, right? Compared to Daily Star. So definitely there will be clear difference in writing quality based on your reading source, right? And of course, active reading, find out any interesting new words, any interesting grammatical uses. Then next time you try to make sentences yourself and try to use that grammar or that word in your writing. It will come up in your brain. And next time you will be writing and you will be thinking to write something, automatically the examples from the Wall Street Journal, from the Financial Times or Economist will be recalled in your brain. Does it make sense? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes what you can do is, okay, you have an article from maybe from the Economist. Read read the article line by line and just write as it is. Maybe you can compose or you can write with your hands. Just copy. Just see and write. Okay. Article in front of you. Just see and write yourself as it is. It will develop your writing skill automatically. Okay. Sometimes you can write the summary. Maybe you have read 5 page of article or 10 page of article. Write one paragraph about this whole article. Write yourself. Or write a page, a summary of the 10 page article in one page. It will develop your automatically your writing skill. Now we can ask again what to read. Already I mentioned, of course, English newspapers, could be magazines, could be articles, English books, IELTS materials. No, IELTS, Cambridge University has around 17 or 18 books on IELTS. These are authentic materials. Read all these reading passages actively. Analyze the grammar, analyze the sentence structure, play with the words, with the parts of speech. Okay. Then paraphrase the sentences yourself, rephrase the words according to your style. Maybe there is a complex sentence, big complex sentence of 20 words. Now you rephrase this sentence, maybe using 15 words, but yourself. This is how you develop your writing skill based on your quality input, not just random. You start writing out of nowhere without having any clue. You are stuck. But when you read and write, as the brain has already got some input, it will be easier for you to write something. Okay. For writing, idea generation is important. Okay. If you maybe it's better to write every day or every week, you can make a habit that is every week fix a day, maybe every Friday or every Saturday or whatever, every day in a week, you will write for 1 hour, one sitting, one page in any topic. It may be your research topic, it may be your teaching topic, whatever, or any recent topic. Just make it a habit. So gather the idea and pick some selective ideas and eliminate the rest of the ideas. Then flesh out. I mean, in idea generation, you only have some bullet points, right? Now, from these bullet points, make them sentences. This is called flesh them out. And you structure them according to logical sequence and chunk by chunk, group by group. Okay. Then for your every idea, every main idea, there will be some supporting ideas and there will be some examples. So one main idea with multiple supporting ideas and one or two examples will create a paragraph, right? Every paragraph ideally should have a main idea, one main idea, of course, then one or two supporting ideas and one or two examples. With these three elements, you make a paragraph. And if it is an essay, there will be multiple paragraphs. One paragraph will have one main idea, and another paragraph will have different main idea. Altogether, having an introduction and a conclusion will make the whole essay. It could be 4-paragraph essay, it could be 3-paragraph, it could be 4 or 5, whatever. That depends. Right. And for structure, there's a very, very common tips. That is, anything you write, anything you talk about, there could be at least 3 things. What is it? Why is it important? What to do next? This is called what, so what, now what. This is very, very popular structure and applies in 99% cases of our life. Not only for writing, but also for speaking. Say, for example, you are delivering a speech in a program somewhere. And every program has any particular theme or even title or topic and issue. Every program talks about something specific issue. Okay. How to structure your speech? It may be 2-minute speech, it may be 5 minutes, it may be even 30 minutes, whatever. Even if it is 1 minute floor for you, include these 3 things. What are you talking about? Why is it important? And how to achieve it? Right? Alternatively, we can think about what, so what, now what. So what means why? Now what means, okay, how can I do it? How to solve this problem? This is very common structure. This is just an advertisement, interesting advertisement, kind of. You see how context is important in any communication. Is it familiar? Jadhav, have you ever seen it before?
No, no.
Very interesting. This is an advertisement actually. You see on the left side, a person is tired, lying on the desert, right? So he was tired. Then he had some cola, some drinks. Then he got the energy back. Now he is running, right? You got the message?
Yeah, yeah.
Tired?
Got the
If
message.
you drink some cola, you will be energized, then you can run. This is the advertisement of a soft drinks company, actually. This is the main advertisement. So when this advertisement was publicized in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or Bahrain, in these countries, the sale of soft drinks of this company went down. The advertisement was a big failure. Why? In the Middle East, their main language is Arabic, right? And Arabic
Yeah,
language is read from right to left, not left to right. English is spoken or English is written or read, everything is left to right. But Arabic script is written from right side to left side. So Arabic people always start reading something from right side, everything. So what happens? They read this advertisement, okay, active person enjoying cola, oh, then got tired. Shit. There is no point of drinking these soft drinks because the message is totally opposite. You got my point.
yeah, yeah. It's a fantastic example.
See how context matters in any communication. And again, advertisement is important communication in professional world, right? The same thing applies for your real life, your family, your academic, your profession, everywhere. Communication context is more important than content sometimes. It's just I'm just sharing some kind of advertisement, uh, funny break kind of thing. This is body language example. Body language. You know, Christina Lagarde, the lady is in aggressive mode, right? You can see uh, her two hands on the waist, and the poor man is in defensive mode. Christina Lagarde, the lady is in aggressive mode, and the man is in the defensive mode. This is example of body language. It's important. You may wondering about, okay, listening, speaking, reading, writing. What about vocabulary? Okay, without vocabulary, you cannot listen, you cannot read. Everything is already there. Maybe you should not that much worry about vocabulary for acquiring a language. It will automatically come to you. Okay, and for having a strong background in vocabulary building, you are strongly recommended to go for English to English dictionary rather than English to Bangla or English to your mother tongue language dictionary. No. Translation is the ineffective method of learning a language. Translation reduces your fluency. Translation kills your fluency. It disturbs your thinking. When you learn English by translation method, your brain takes time for translation from your mother tongue to English or from English to your mother tongue. That is why don't go for any English to mother tongue dictionary. No, always consult with English to English dictionary. It will help you to think in English, right? Remember, spelling and pronunciation not always same. They are different. If you wanna try to pronounce according to spelling, pronunciation will be misleading. There is a tendency among the non-native speakers all the time. They try to pronounce according to spelling. This makes the pronunciation awkward. Why? The reason is they did not consult the English dictionary. We people have no scope for listening to authentic English. That's the main problem. And second problem is we don't learn accent from dictionary. We learn accent from spelling. For pronunciation, there are different symbols. Like spelling, for pronunciation, also there are different symbols. And there is some differences regarding British English and American English. In some cases, we should be aware of it. You can keep vocabulary notebook. If you find any new words, keep it in the notebook. Write down the part of speech, meaning, not translation, meaning in English. You see, meaning and translation not same. Meaning means definition of that word. What does it mean? Translation is English to Bangla, English to Persian, English to Hindi. Right? That's not ideal. And try to revise maybe every weekly, every monthly. Okay? Listen, speak, read, write, and make it fun. Language learning could be fun, could be a big fun, other than learning any discipline. Because watching movie can be also helpful for your skill development. But you cannot find any movie on accounting. You cannot find any movie maybe for learning economics. No. Maybe there could be one or two scenes, one or two dialogues, those are related to economics or accounting or finance, whatever. But you can get the whole movie could be helpful for your language skill development. You can play vocabulary games. There are hundreds of apps for enhancing your vocabulary, right? You may be wondering about, I'm not talking about grammar. Why? Because eventually grammar will follow. For listening, speaking, grammar will follow you. You don't have to worry about it. If you listen to authentic English, you will automatically learn grammar as well all the time. But for reading and writing, in some cases, you have to consult some grammatical issues, advanced level grammatical issues, and most of them you already read them in your, in your junior school or even high school. Just revisit them. And again, Cambridge also has a grammar dictionary. Always follow authentic materials. Learn English from the English. Learn English from the genuine materials. Motivation is, of course, you all have the motivation because you have a big purpose for language skill. You are trying to have a prestigious scholarship. So you have a big dream. And English skill is one of the important stepping stones for achieving your this big dream. So you already have the motivation. Sometimes confidence may be an issue. Have confidence because having an English language skill is not a matter of any talent or intelligence. Anybody can acquire this skill. Anybody can. Because language is democratic. Even without knowing ABCD, if one can speak English, being a university graduate, being a university teacher, why would you think about it negatively? There is no point. When you come to any English speaking country, you will see many beggars on the street. They are begging themselves, asking for alms, asking for help, and they are speaking in English. Even the beggars are speaking in English. Street beggars. More interestingly, in English speaking countries, especially in the UK, dog walking or pet animal walking is very common. Anytime if you just go out, you will see, definitely you will see someone walking their dog, and they're talking to that dog in which language? Can you guess? Of course you can. They're talking to the animal in English. See? So there is no point of any lack of confidence in learning the English language. Should not be. But the problem is in consistency. We have motivation, we have confidence, but we don't make it a habit. Just randomly, we spend time for learning language, acquiring English language skill. You have to make it a habit every day. At least 30 minutes or 1 hour you will spend for acquiring this skill. You must make it a habit. If you sky high motivation, full of confidence, but irregular, will not give you the result. And you must follow the right way, as I showed you. Listen to speak, read to write. That's it. These two formula enough for acquiring any language skill, be it English, Arabic, whatever. And right resources. By right resources, I mean native resources. I mean Oxford, Cambridge, British Council, BBC, all these materials. And these are free. These are free materials. I'm done with my talk on this. Actually, I have designed the whole course on IELTS preparation because I have been working in a language center in Dhaka as IELTS instructor. So I have the whole lot of materials for this. Okay. From masterclass to see, learn English with fun. I have all the materials here. Learn English with TV series, Kangaroo English, Noman Ali Khan lecture, Oxford English, TED Talk, listen to famous speech, Sami Yusuf song, what I have already told you. Then native resources for learning English. You see? BBC, Voice of America, Oxford. They have all these materials for learning English. Even there are some free courses on IELTS and TOEFL, some free courses. One important thing I have missed, that is test your English level. There are some links where you can test your present skill level. This is very important. What happens is, in most of the cases, if you want to go to any language tutorial for learning English language, everybody puts in the same group, same batch. Someone having maybe intermediate past, someone being university graduate, someone maybe university teacher, professional, everybody in the same group having different backgrounds, different levels of English. And same treatment for everyone, same materials for everyone. That's a faulty system. What I recommend before jumping on preparing your English skill, test your level. take the test online. Cambridge, they have got these, even British Council, they have also this level test system. If you do the test, you can assess yourself. What is your position? Is it foundation level? Is it intermediate level? Or is it advanced level? Then based on this assessment result, you can take the course. Maybe for someone, maybe intermediate level course is required. Maybe for someone, advanced level course is required. Not every same size fits all. Nothing like that. Right? So this is it from my part. If you have any question, comment, or query, please go ahead. I'm done. And the time is up, I think. Interesting to know that Shumon was riding the bike, and while
Yes,
riding
yes,
the
yes.
bike, he's joining the class. Is really interesting, and it indicates your motivation. It indicates your dedication for enhancing your English skill. And
Yes,
for,
thank you, Sulbai.
yeah.
Actually, I would not like to miss this class. However, I was busy,
Mhm.
uh, and my motivation is that whoever it may be a student or teacher, whatever he or she,
Mhm.
we must have the enough of knowledge on English language.
Mhm.
Recently, I want to share my experience. Recently, I have uh, um, present a paper on Bangladesh Accounting Association. They have
Mhm.
arranged a conference.
Mhm.
The last day session, concluding session. The some of the respected and well-known persons are invited, and
Mhm.
they deliver their lectures. And among them, we found out that the level of speaking, how
Mhm.
well they are provided their speech. And there is something lacks from
Mhm.
someone,
Mhm.
and that's make some actually suspension of how they actually how they are there now. So the
Yeah,
position
yeah,
they hold. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I get the point. Yes.
for example, okay. So, whenever we may have the other skill, we may be good at the mathematics or accounting,
Mhm.
but if we don't deliver our expression in English
Mhm.
fluently, then it make a question undoubtedly. So this is my inspiration from the
Mhm.
parents that actually to be a good leader, only other qualities is not enough. We must
Mhm.
express fluently or what we want to actually say, not
Yes.
like reading. Okay. So this session is very important to us, and
Mhm.
hopefully I think it will help for all of us. Thank you very
Mhm.
much for having this.
Okay. Thank you, Shumon. Thank you. Joydev, do you wanna say something?
Yeah, I have to say that today's lecture is very informative.
Mhm.
And actually, I say this today's lecture is very fantastic. And I never enjoyed such lecture before, actually, on
Mhm.
communication. You explained the term communication and how to develop the listening, reading, writing skills, and what are the relation between listening and speaking, and also the reading and writing.
Mhm.
So this is a good example, I think. And
Mhm.
you explain this relation clearly.
Mhm.
Actually, I never know this relation. Actually, what is relation between speaking and the listening?
Mhm.
There is a close relation between reading and writing also.
Yes,
This is
yes.
very good lecture.
Mhm.
So thank you for your lecture today.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, wishing you all the best. Hopefully, And next week was the date. Today's 18th, right? 25th. Okay. Now, of course, I'll try to continue this live session. If some reason I'm not available, I will let you know in the WhatsApp group. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So keep going, guys. There is a very common, I should say, what the common song in Bangla. যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে রে একলা চলো রে. Even
Yeah.
Okay, okay, sure.
this is your life. This is your motivation. Just keep going. Even I am not here. Even I don't continue the initiative. The person who are motivated, they will find it out. They will figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. So your dedication will
Okay.
lead you to the big goal one day, hopefully. So
Yeah.
thank you so very much. Wishing you all the best.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Allah Hafiz.
Take care.